here with the Pilot's Garage. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new, welcome to the channel. As everyone knows, I've been working on the Mini for longer than I really want to at this point in time. And tonight I feel defeated. I'll get into that here in a second. So, I just put back together a transmission. It starts. You guys, I don't know if you watch my videos, but there's a YouTube short where it first fires up. Since that video, I have put the front core support back in, which are just like a composite. I don't even know if it's composite something, but that's where the radiator sits, and then your AC condenser it goes against, and then your crash bar bolts against it. I have that all back together. I have antifreeze in it. It's bled. It starts up, it runs, it idles, it does all that stuff. I went to bleed the clutch, and no matter what I did, I could get clutch for a brief second, and then I would lose it, and could figure out what was going on. I bled and bled and bled, and I went and borrowed somebody's pneumatic brake bleeder, thinking maybe I wasn't doing it right, wasn't working. So I went online, and I found out that the way that the Mini people do it is there's a contraption that pushes here. I'll just grab it. This is the clutch slave cylinder. There's a contraption that pushes this in, and then you take two bolts, run them through here, and bolt it, and it keeps this shut. And what that does is there's a cylinder in here. It pushes the cylinder the whole way back and evaps all the air out of this little thing. This is where the hard line comes in, and this is your bleeder. So like a normal clutch, you just have somebody pump this, and then once there's pressure on it, you break this open, air comes out, you close it, and you just keep doing it like you do brakes. You just keep doing it, and it gets air out of it. But the way that this is designed, if you look at it straight, right here, this little piece coming in, you see it's in an angle this way. Usually in plumbing, that's the way the direction goes, because stuff's supposed to go this way, so it can't go back. So what's going on is, if you see this, there's a step up. See, this goes straight and then steps up. The cylinder's in the step up. Well, air can go above this line. Anything above this line my finger's touching, anything above it, air can get in here and get trapped, and there's nowhere for it to go. Because if you look, if this thing bolts onto the engine flat, the bleeder is back here, so the fluid's going to come in, and the fluid's going to immediately come this way and then up out. But if there's any air bubbles in this little crease where my finger right here is, they get like stuck in this little indent thing, and then you won't have clutch. So when you push this cylinder, there's a cylinder in here with a seal. The seal will come the whole way back here and stop, so it evacuates all the air out of this little piece. And then the way I did it was I had bench bled it. So you crack this thing open until it's open. You push the cylinder in, and then you fill this piece up with fluid. And you'll see it'll bubble and it'll go down in until it gets in, and then I tilt it this way, fill it back up again, and then tap this, and it gets the air bubbles out of this, and I keep this filled up to here, and then I set this on the ground so it's sitting up in the air like this, so there's no air down here, and the cylinder's pushed up, so there's nowhere for it to go. You close this up so you don't let any air in it. And then whenever you go to get in the car, you take the hard line. It has a weird end on it. It goes in here and it makes a seal, and then you push this piece in to keep it from coming back out. Once you do that, you can, this will be hanging because it'll have that bracket on it. The way that I did it was, I made sure the cap was off on the brake fill reservoir. I opened this up, and then I had that pneumatic bleeder, and I ran it, and you could see it getting air out of the line until there was no more air in the line. I shut it, went up top, filled the reservoir back up, put the lid on it, and then you take this bracket off, which allows this cylinder to come back out because it's pressurized. If I push Oh, there's fluid on it. If I push, it's pressurized, so it comes out. And when it comes out, this thing, it now has a vacuum on it. It pulls the fluid from the reservoir down the line and into here. So it gets rid of all the air. When I first did it, with the whole process, it was fine. The problem that I came into is I could, like, first and second when I first did it, and then I would lose all clutch altogether. I'm like, okay. So then I would pump it, and I could change gears again. Well, every time I would pump it, I would get gears, and then 1 or 2 pumps, I would lose it. So I'm like, okay, something's up. So I go down and I look, and I didn't have anything on the floor, but I kept cleaning this off, and every time I did that, there would be fluid right here, like it's going to drip. And I'll show you what happened. So, this is your hard line that comes from up top. I actually have it bent all up, but it's like this on the transmission. This is the top where from your reservoir, there's a rubber line. It goes into here, and it has one of those clips as well. That's the bottom. So the little rubber line goes in here, clips, and then this is a hard, almost like it actually is a brake line. The whole way down to the bottom, this is the piece that goes into the clutch slave. And if you look on this line, see how it's all rotted out? That is just totally rusted. So I actually ripped it off, messing with it, but whenever it was together, actually right where it split, where you see where I broke it off, it actually had a crack up the side of the pipe here. And what it was doing was, when I would pump it and give it pressure, it was letting air in here and letting fluid out, which was causing me to lose my pedal. So I had to order this line because these are special ends. And here's the problem. There's no way of getting that hard line out of that plastic. I mean, I have brake line here, but these have special ends that they're like quick disconnects that you can't get this piece out no matter what I do. So I don't know if it's like a one-time use type thing, or so I had to go online and order this from BMW, which was more than I want to spend. So now I gotta wait for that to come in. So now that I explained all that to you, here we go, something I forgot to tell you. The 6-speed axle bracket, the passenger side has a solid shaft, then there's a bracket that bolts into the block, and then from there to the wheel is a CV axle. That little bracket is different from the 5-speed and 6-speed because the axles and the transmission is beefier than the 5-speed. So whenever you bolt it to the side of the block, where the axle comes out of the block is 5/8 of an inch out farther than the 5-speed. So that takes the 5-speed bracket that I have, and it's actually 5/8 inch away from the block. So if you're ever doing a swap and you don't get the axle with that bracket on it, and you have the 5-speed one, if you make 5/8 inch spacers, I took a piece of hard round stock and had holes in it, and I put 3 of those in and bolted it tight. So if you ever do that, you can do that instead of trying to find that bracket, because you cannot buy that bracket individually that I've been able to find. So tonight, since I have nothing else to do now because I can't do the clutch, I am going to replace this guy. This is the motor mount on the passenger side top, not this stabilizer, but the one down here. Mine, this whole top piece is actually gone. It's pulled apart. And if you need to know what the part number is, there's the part number. All right. So no more babbling. I'm going to work on getting this unbolted out of the car, and I'll show you how to do that. Stay tuned and hope you learn something. Okay, so this is the top of the mount. So this is the system here like this, the sled you see. I have the jack under the car, under the oil pan with a block of wood. I already have pressure up on it. My car has this bracket you see right here, and then there's another motor mount. It's a stabilizer. So it is a 16mm bolt up here. And then there's a bolt right here. Then you pop this line off. You pop the fuel line out. And then this guy will slide forward until it clears. Come on. This comes out. Set it to the side. And then the nut that's on top of the motor mount is an 18. Okay. Then underneath, if you get it from the, you have to take the wheel off the passenger side. We don't have to, but take the wheel off the passenger side, and up underneath the inner fender well is, you'll see this bolt. This is the head. It is a Torx E12, so it's an inverted Torx, and it goes the whole way up through the frame rail, and it actually screws into the bottom of the mount. So I've already done this from the bottom, so that's out of my way. But we got that bolt off. I should be able to jack the engine up like I am. It's got to come up far enough to mine's broke, so I can get mine out easy. There. So you see mine was in 2 pieces. You can see it's all rusted and jacked up. So I don't know if this one's going to go in as easy. Probably got to jack up some more. But you got to be careful, like the radiator hoses and the downpipe. I may not even be able to get this thing up in there. And if I can, it's not that hard to do the... Yeah, see, I need to go up another... I don't think it's going to go. There it went. Alright, so... So I'm going to take pressure up off of it. Simple as that. And you do everything in reverse. Put this bolt on. So what I'll do is I'll go underneath and put the bolt up through and tighten it down first. And then once it's tight, I'll lower the engine back down, tighten this one up, and then put that stabilizer bar back in and I'm done. Simple enough. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll have another video out soon once the clutch slave comes in. I've got to make a heat shield for back here yet for the turbo. I'll do that this week. Get the wheels back on it. And then once the clutch comes in, I'm ready, or the clutch hardline comes in, I'm ready to put her back down on the ground, take her outside, and beat on a little bit. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, and peace.